At the Aberdeen Proving Grounds, the Army unveils its atomic-age Big Bertha. Carried suspended between two engine cabs, the huge 280-millimeter gun has complete mobility and is the world's first atomic cannon. Army officials say it can fire both atomic and conventional shells with pinpoint accuracy, day or night, in all kinds of weather. It has a range of 20 miles. Work on the great cannon began in 1944. Now, the first atomic gun is ready for firing.
Rain-swept airfield in Britain, a rescue plane brings home 11 young airmen snatched from peril on a lonely Greenland ice cap not far from the pole. Lost in a storm on their way to our new base at Thule, their transport made a crash landing, injuring 3 men. Dramatic films made by a member of the rescue squad show the downed transport pinned helplessly to the ice. When weather permits, planes from Thule drop supplies. On the ground, the temperature is 30 below zero. 3 men are injured and need medical attention. More and more supplies are kicked out. Stoves, tents, food drift down to the frozen men. Days go by in bitter, endless monotony. Bone-chilling winds from the pole roar across the endless wastes. The rigid, pock-marked ice cap makes landing impossible except under the best conditions. Finally, an amphibian glides down to take aboard the 3 injured men. Snow swept in by the polar gales piles up as the Arctic closes in. Then another plane takes off the remaining men who gladly leave behind their frozen prison of 10 days. Rescued from the Arctic, 11 weary men are happy to be back home.
Harry Truman and Hadley Stevenson, Democrats from all sections of the country converge on Chicago for a harmony rally to heal the party's bitter North-South split. To hear a report by Stevenson on his global tour, and to plot strategy for next year's crucial congressional elections. At a women's gathering, Stevenson quips to Truman on the balcony, "Never did 2 Romeos have so many Juliets." In the spotlight, 2 old campaigners at the party powwow. The first batch of anti-communist Chinese and North Korean prisoners of war to refuse repatriation head for the India-supervised neutral camp at Munsan. Unfurling Chiang Kai-shek's banner in a show of defiance are some 15,000 Chinese. Along with 8,000 North Koreans, they will be asked by red representatives to give up the blessings of liberty and vanish from the world of free men. The aged Sultan of Morocco is marked for death as he rides through the boiling streets of Rabat to Muslim prayer services. Now, in exclusive films, the assassination attempt. A car runs down the Sultan's mount. The assassin knifes the guard, but is plucked to the ground and shot in a frenzied, frantic few seconds. When the melee is over, the would-be killer lies bleeding to death. More than 100 troops and terrorists have been slain in Moroccan rioting in the last 10 months. The Sultan, bruised and shaken, is led away. His mount, a leg broken, must be destroyed. Meanwhile, the French fear new violence as the 64-year-old Sultan continues on to offer prayers for his deliverance. The Army shows off Amazon Annie, its biggest field artillery gun, which can fire an atomic shell. Despite its ponderous 85 tons, Amazon Annie rolls smoothly along over bridges built for less than half its weight. The immense bulk is distributed on 2 big transporters, so Amazon Annie can go over a bridge that was built for standard equipment. Sharp turns aren't any problem, and on the straightaway, the big gun travels at 35 miles an hour. A battalion of these giants will soon be sent to Europe. Here are first pictures of the atomic cannon actually firing. A mushroom of atomic smoke rises 20 miles away as America's new weapon speaks.
Major John Eisenhower, the only son of the president, arrives from Korea, and Mom and Dad meet him at the Denver airport. The Major's wife, Barbara, gets a presidential welcome. And the Major greets a general. Young Eisenhower left for Korea duty in July 1952. Now the next stop is Chicago, where the Eisenhowers will be reunited with their 3 children.
President Truman takes to the road to stump for a continuation of Democratic policies on a tour that brings him from Montana down through the West Coast to California. Crowds turn out everywhere to see the president, who also draws the usual compliment of small boys. In San Francisco, Mr. Truman says Eisenhower is a captive of old guard Republicans. Stumping through Senator Taft's home state of Ohio, Governor Hadley Stevenson gets a noisy welcome in Columbus, where he later calls for continued social welfare legislation. Next day in Minneapolis, the Democratic presidential candidate denounces Republican charges of false prosperity in the United States. In Fort Dodge, Stevenson makes a strong bid for Iowa's 10 electoral votes. General Dwight D. Eisenhower brings the Republican presidential campaign on a rapid whistle-stop tour through Wisconsin, Minnesota, and North and South Dakota. Thousands of people, including this bearded cyclist, turn out to see Ike as he tours cities and speaks to crowds through this part of the Midwest. Ike even takes a ride in a college jalopy. He denounces administration policies at home and abroad as the campaign gets hotter.